Okay, David, how did you become Deputy Dean?
Well, I was out in the University of Melbourne, working there for a year, and Howard Thomas, the then Dean of Business School, rang me up and said, did I want to be Deputy Dean? I said, I'll think about it for a week, but he did tell me some other good people who were taking up positions at the time, and I said, within a couple of days, yeah, I'll do that.
Great. And what were your priorities in the role?
Mainly, I think the school needed a strategy, and it needed a strategy because things were changing quite rapidly. At the micro level, we got a pay freeze, and we got a freeze on appointments. We couldn't grow, but there was a need to move things forward and to get ahead of the competition again. And so I think there was a strategic vision needed, and there was also, I think, a re-enlivening of the school, or a re-energising of the school, because I think it had become a little bit staid, a little bit samey.
So you and Howard are both scholars of decision making and strategy.
We are.
How did you formulate and implement strategy?
Quite interesting. He comes from mathematics and economics background, I suppose, and risk, and I come from a behavioural and political science type background. We blended together very well, so we've got a very holistic view of strategy. He'd worry about the risks and the costs, and I'd worry about the people and the processes. And we were able to work together as a team very well, so we would think through from planning right through to implementation, and we'd have that then ready as something to present to the steering committee of the business school, and also then for full discussion amongst the school eventually. But we had a pretty coherent plan at that time, and we worked together very well, and informally.
And how was fundraising an issue at the time?
Not at the time, although it was clear that revenues were beginning to become tighter. Philanthropic donations and external donations outside research councils then did become an issue over my tenure, with the university encouraging that and as an alternative source of funding. Very difficult area to be in, but now it's very much in the primary lens of strategy rather than in the background as when I was there. But by the time I'd left, or was leaving the role, it became really important and was on the university agenda as well as the business school agenda.
And at what point did you appoint a second Deputy Dean?
I was a year into my tenure as Deputy Dean and realised that you can't handle HR, strategy and finance simultaneously. So I decided to concentrate on strategy and HR, and Bob Johnson took over the financial side of the school, and also how that mixed in with where we wanted to go and how it supported it. And Bob and I worked together very well as well, so that's an important part of the team.
Okay, and then you became acting Dean for a while. Why didn't you want to become Dean?
Oh, I had enough. Two reasons. One, I had enough, and secondly, I think business schools were going in what I considered the wrong direction, or no direction at all would be more accurate.
So you've seen many deans in your time at Warwick. Any particularly good practices you've observed in relation to how they behaved in terms of the central university and managing meetings?
I think in this particular university, you need to be forthright, brief and well briefed, because it's a competitive environment out there. You're competing for attention with the university and for resources with your sister departments, and to get that attention with a well-formulated plan, I always think people like George Bain, Robert Dyson, Robin Wensley could present their points and present their arguments in a relatively short time. You generally get about 10 minutes in the university committee, max, and if you can't do it by then the registrar or the vice-chancellor will probably call time out, and that's it. And we had a series of deans who could do that superbly well. And I think listening also to where the university is going and how you fit as a department in the strategy of the university and can contribute towards that. Those are the important things.
And finally, what do you see as the key challenges for a university-based business school that's full service?
For a university-based business school, I think business schools have to get back to their mother disciplines. I think there's a great danger of students and research councils looking at business schools and almost declaring them irrelevant. For example, why can't you do in a department of economics or sociology or politics what's currently done in the business school? And I think there are some very difficult questions to be asked. I think there's three areas where business schools might contribute to their future, in a sense. It seems to me they don't ask the right research questions. They've spent too long studying commercial companies that are successful with household names and using those as exemplars. I think there are much more pressing questions in the world. I would take, for example, global food systems as an example. Mm-hmm. If you have simultaneous obesity and starvation in a world well able to feed itself, at least technically, there are serious questions to be asked, not just about management and organisation, but about the politics and policy issues that are involved in that whole global system. I think the questions of management, accountability and risk are underrepresented within business schools and need bolstering. And we now live in an era where technology and science are certainly the dominant factors in the way we live and will continue to live in an organised society. And I think business schools that miss the opportunity to look at the impact of technology and science and understand how that might impact upon the organised world will simply lose their relevance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.